If you are listening to sessions on YouTube and would like future episodes delivered right to your favorite podcast player, head to patreon.com/DGAF poker player and sign up for free. Then copy your personal RSS feed and paste it wherever you normally listen to podcasts. Spotify, the podcast app on your iPhone, wherever. If you'd like to get 2 drops of sessions each week instead of just 1, upgrade to a paid member for $4.22 a month or more. Paid members get a lead up to each episode. Lead ups are private drops of sessions in which I share everything that goes on in my life when I'm not at the poker table. And according to hundreds of listeners, many of whom have been paid members since 2019, the lead ups are the juice. Sometimes they are dark, sad, maybe even painful. Other times they are funny, inspirational, perhaps even educational. No matter what, they always tell the story, my story. High Stakes Poker Pro hits rock bottom at age 43 and does everything he can to not only survive and provide for his kids, but hopefully rise once more, literally against all odds. If you too want these lead-ups, which due to their raw and spewy nature are said to be perfect for commutes, workouts, walks, or just trying to fall asleep after a busy day, upgrade to a paid member. If you just want the poker shit, that's cool too. The poker shit will always be free. However, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that in addition to receiving a lead-up each week, paid members also get full access to all 8 seasons of sessions, full access to my mental health podcast, Solicited Advice podcast, plus membership to Patron Discord, the platform where listeners from all over the world go to have discussions and share their stories. They also play poker together, bet sports together with no vig, and some even buy pieces of me when I play poker, with no markup. Many paid members listening right now would tell you that not only have they enjoyed endless audioscapes over the years, but they've also formed real, lasting friendships with other DGens on Patron Discord. To recap, if you want to listen to sessions on a podcast player moving forward, sign up for free at patreon.com/DGAF poker player and then paste your personal RSS feed wherever you normally listen to podcasts. And if you want endless view plus interaction with other listeners from all over the world, upgrade to a paid member. Week 46 of 50, DGAF LLC. What the fuck is that? That's my company. I started it in early 2024 to get organized a bit, to handle all my different income streams, plus all the payroll and expenses I have each month. And the tagline is content and community, and that's what I do. I provide content, this podcast. I'm a commentator. I have a show, Lucky Lady Casino Live. I'm writing a script for a TV show. It's all pretty much, that's like this podcast, autobiographical, and community. Bring people together. Patreon, as mentioned. Patron Discord, as mentioned. A lot of people have lifelong friends and business partners and whatever else that they met via this podcast. And also, of course, bringing people together to play poker as a host. I host a 5-5-10 at Hustler and all sorts of games at Lucky Lady Casino Live. And it just dawned on me, I've been down for so long, just buried in debt ever since I hit the bottom. You heard the intro, or I guess if you're listening on YouTube, you didn't get to hear the intro because it has copyright music on it. Been down for so long and been in debt for so long, and now I'm starting to build all this business. I need to get organized with it. I need to maximize profits. I need to maximize growth. I need to do all the stuff that people do with promising businesses. And believe it or not, DGAF LLC is one. Content and community. Anyways, I rambled about that in this week's lead up. I've been feeling under the weather, and when I'm under the weather, I ramble more. I'm just not as focused. And I'm usually, by default, not the most focused podcaster, but it's even worse when I'm under the weather, and so be it. That's the story. Anyways, I'm at the Gardens on the night of Monday, November 10th. Had a big meetup 2 days earlier at Lucky Lady, and ended up playing I was there from noon to I think 6 a.m. Ended up playing after, going in exhausted and not feeling great and working incredibly hard and then playing all night. And it's debatable. I was playing too small for my taste, which is something that might sound irrational. Like, what do you mean? You're in debt. Shouldn't a small game be fine? It was 235. And it's not like, plays fairly. People win 5K. They run up, 5, 10K stacks. But I've just been in the game too long that playing small just doesn't suit me. And I also could not find it on this night. And it's rare that I can't find the shorthanded edge, but I could not find it on this night. And I'm not reviewing that session. It was just so frustrating not being able to dominate shorthanded. It was the opposite. I was the one getting owned. And of course, there's so many tentacles, the variance. And, there's one guy in particular on my left that's an action guy who goes for it. He also goes for thin value. If he wasn't like a rich recreational player, he could be good at poker. But I would assume he's a very losing player. And it was just one of the, you get it, it's shorthanded battling and you have ace deuce offsuit, he's in there with whatever, you're out of position and it comes like queen 6-4, or say queen jack 6, I should say, rainbow, and you check and he puts out a tiny continuation bet and you're just calling. Ace high is going to be fine here. And then the turn's of 4 diamonds and now he puts out a big bet and he just picked up a draw. and the river's the 8 of diamonds, and so you check fold, and he just had 5-3 offsuit. So he had the one draw that didn't get there, but all the other ones did. And it was that kind of night, and it was fucking frustrating. And the next day, I just worked hard on my business, and I actually got some decent sleep. And this is Monday now, and I worked a bunch again, and went to Hot Pot, and was ready to get some revenge on the poker world. And let's see how that goes after a sip of water. So I'm playing 5-5-10 with my buddy Aaron Queskin. Or actually, we get seated at different tables. And so I'm a new player at my 5-5-10. That means bomb pot, $25 bomb pot, new player. And then I get table changed to Aaron's game. And, I just folded that hand and then went to Aaron's and another bomb pot. And I got king 5 and everyone's in there for $25. It came king 7-6, 2 spades. I just went ahead and bet. And someone called and I just decided they likely have a draw and the turn was a jack of hearts. And I just bet again and they folded. And I'm winning. It's just nice to be winning. And this also is not a big game. But at least I know it's going to be $20 big blind sooner than later. And that's about as small as I can play, which, I don't know, I have more hours of no limit hold'em under my belt than any 3 people you probably know combined. I thought I was getting out. I was burnt out on poker and thought I was getting out of the game in 2012. I already been a full-time pro playing 2,500 hours a year, since 2007. And before that, when Hold'em broke, when No Limit broke, I probably played 1,000 hours a year while also having another job. And, that was 2012. And then, it's 13 years later. And I play less poker now than I ever did because I'm building my business. But this is as low as I can play. And it's nice to be winning, just winning a little bit. And then I just felt this guy wanted to make a move against me. He wanted to try and own me. And the 20 is on. And I made it 65. I don't know why I made it 65. I usually just make it a different number, but I made it 65 and he made it 165. And I king 8 offsuit and I'm out of position and I just felt like he's trying to own me and like, this is a shitty hand, but it's not like a grinder 3-betting you. You would just throw your cards right back in the muck. But I just knew this guy was trying to get me. And so I called, let's play a little poker out of position with king 8 offsuit. It came 8 deuce 3 rainbow. And I checked, and a continuation bet, and that's exactly what I thought it was. A continuation bet. And I wasn't going to fold my hand. The stacks are not deep. The gardens, they can get deep, but in general, they're not. So I didn't jam here because what does a jam accomplish on 8 deuce 3 rainbow when you have king 8? Well, it probably doesn't get called by much worse, and it certainly never folds out better. So I put in a check min raise. I just want to protect my hand, and maybe get him to call, maybe get some value, maybe get him to call with 2 overs, and he went all in, and it wasn't for a ton, and I snapped it off, and I said, "Do you have an overpair?" I just seeing if my read was wrong, and I turned over my hand. He said, "No, I'm drawing dead." I don't know what the fuck that means, but it was nice to get his stack, and I'm up right away. I don't know how much, $800, peanuts in the grand scheme of things when you're as buried as I am financially. But it felt good that my read was correct. I'm a very sensitive person, which is why you probably have seen me tilt and get into it with people. But you've also seen me make really good decisions. If you've ever watched Max Payne Monday and people thought I was cheating, no way you can call there, no way you can fold there. Okay, but like I'm incredibly sensitive, and especially if I'm rested, I know what you are about. I know what mode you're in, and in hands, I often know what you have, and I know what you think I have, which is very important. So it felt good to kind of, be right. As mentioned, I could not find the previous session at Lucky Lady. So that felt pretty good. And I'm winning a little bit. And then I get 9-8 of diamonds, and I just call a grinder's open. And it's 3 ways, and it comes king, jack 7 with 2 diamonds. And this is a gut shot straight draw plus a flush draw, and they check to me. I'm going to go ahead and bet it. I have so much equity here. I have a straight draw and a flush draw, and the pre-flop raiser called and turns to 10 of diamonds. Okay, that's not bad. I turned to flush. I also turned to straight, but that doesn't matter. Turned to flush, and now I have an open-ended straight flush draw as well. And the original, I call them original buster, because these games are kind of dusty. Public games are kind of dusty in general, and then the pros or the grinders, whatever you want to call them, are the dust busters. So I said the original buster calls. So he opened, he's playing pretty tight, called 9-8 of diamonds. I'm not but this isn't deep stack poker where you can 3-bet suited connectors, and you just don't want to be doing that here. You just want to get in there. And 3 ways, and I got a great flop. King, jack, 7, 2 diamonds. They checked to me. I bet. This guy called, turned 10 of diamonds. He checked. I bet again. Even though I have such a great hand, it is vulnerable. There are, if he has the ace of diamonds or the queen of diamonds, or the king of diamonds, the jack of diamonds, then he has outs, and he called. And then you just want to see a clean river, and I didn't. The river was a 5 of diamonds, so there's 4 diamonds out there, and now he leads for, I don't know, 300 or 400. And what would you do? Well, if you're just, I think the rule is full. I have a 9 high flush when there's 4 diamonds out there against the pre-flop raiser who check called flop, check called turn, and led river. When you check called turn, you often are going to have a big diamond, and then you're going to lead it. If you don't, if you had something like a set or 2 pair, it's pretty rare to turn that into a bluff, because what were you doing? Like, are you just giving me a flush? Anyways, he showed 2 queens with no diamond. What the fuck? Do you know how much of a punch in the gut it is to get bluffed by a grinder? And, I'm sure he's feeling good about his play, but it's just one of those things like, what is this guy doing on the turn? Why is he calling with 2 queens, no diamond? He raised, I called, some other dustbuster called. It came King Jack 7, 2 diamonds. I bet. The other guy folded. He called. Turns a 10 of diamonds. And he check called with 2 queens. Yeah, I get it. He's open-ended, but no diamond. I think that's probably a fold. And anyways, he got a good river card to bluff. And I didn't know that he would bluff. And you got to get bluffed sometimes, but that kind of hurt. And damn it. All right, then DJ Melody was at our table on my left. And I raised with ace jack, and he called, and others called, and it came, or one other person called. It came 6 deuce deuce, 2 spades, 3 ways. I bet small in position with ace jack, and he raised me large. And historically, this is a flush draw. He just called pre-flops. Not like he has, he's not gonna have an overpair here. Anyways, I'm gonna call, and I'm probably just gonna get the rest in on a non-spade turn. And turns the 9 of spades, he went all in and I folded. And so a couple setbacks here. Getting bluffed by a dustbuster never feels good. And when you make the call with ace jack on 6 deuce deuce, 2 spades, you call the check raise because you're in position and you're pretty sure this guy has a flush draw. This is how people play flush draws. They raise smaller if they have something big. And then the spade comes, you got to fold. So I did an elaborate multi-street bluff and got it through and felt better after that. And then I coolered my buddy Aaron Queskin in a pretty small pot where he had queen deuce. I had ace deuce. It came 8-6 deuce. And the pre-flop raiser bet small. He called. I called. I had a backdoor flush draw. The turn was a deuce. They checked to me. I bet. He called. The river was a queen. Sorry, I had queen deuce. He had ace deuce. And the river's a queen, and I bet, and he just called with ace deuce. And but it's nice to cooler, your buddy. And then it gets interesting here. There's a guy who hasn't played a hand. It's kind of like grinder that has a good, he's just not contributing anything to the table, but he doesn't have bad energy at all. He has kind of like friendly energy, young guy. Anyways, he opens the 80. The 20's on. I'm the 20. And he has maybe $650. And I have 2 10s. And someone calls. And I opt to just call. And then that brings in whoever else limped in. I didn't want to give this guy. I just didn't want to give him a double up. And this is a mistake. In this day and age, even the grinders are going to have worse. He hadn't played one hand. Now he's playing it like I want to play poker. I don't know. It's just, I went a little old school here and just flatted 10s. And I got a good flop. Came 9-8-4 with 2 hearts. And some guy who had called the 80 with like 80 behind led all in, and I just raised the 200, and it got over to the guy who opened, and he 3-bet, and I folded. And 9-8-4, 2 hearts. I just snap folded the overpair, and I was sure I was beat. And he had pocket 4s, so I was beat, but I wasn't beat pre-flop, and I was just, too worried about his tightness pre-flop. I guess you just got to play. If you had $650, that's, 30 some big blinds. I think you just got to get the 10s in, but I didn't want to. And I don't know what would have happened if I 3-bet pre-flop. I don't know if he called, I just knew that if I 3-bet pre-flop, I had to play for stacks, and against a lot of players, you're happy to play for stacks with 10s, but not against a dustbuster, and it's just an interesting hand to think about. I don't like my pre-flop decision at all to just call. I got to adjust to the times that even these fucking dustbusters are going to have small pairs. And even if they haven't played a hand, since you got there, and they're just not as grindy or as tight. They're plenty grindy. They're just not as tight as they used to be. And who knows what would have happened, but I just don't like that I made the wrong decision pre-flop. And I do like how I played it post-flop, that I folded an over pair. And I need to get some revenge on this guy. And so I raised with ace queen, and I'm in position three ways. It comes 9-6-3. I decide to continuation bet. I like this, with my entire range and position. And only this guy called. Okay, and now I kind of felt like he's more than meets the eye. He's a little more capable than I was giving him credit for. Because he flopped a set, but no, because he opened fours. And he calls 9-6-3 rainbow and turns a jack of 9-6-3 two clubs. And he calls, and I don't have a club. And the turn's a jack, and he checks, I check back. And the river's the jack of clubs. So the flush gets there, 9-6-3 two clubs, jack, and then jack of clubs. And now he overbets. And this is one of those things where I'm commentating that I see like, wait a second, why are you overbetting here? Are you overbetting for value against someone who put in a small continuation bet and check back the turn? Someone who's saying, my hand's not that good. I'm trying to play a small pot here. If you're overbetting for value, that's bad. You overbet to get me to fold my hand. So I just kind of thought it over and decided that he could have 8-7 suited or whatever, and I made the call of the overbet with ace high, and he said you're good. I just turned it over. So playing better on this night than Lucky Lady, but that's not hard. That's the worst I've played. Just the Lucky Lady shit. Well, got shorthanded. I'm usually just really like my side at 5 a.m, forehanded. I just couldn't fucking make the right moves. But here, I like how I'm playing. I like that call. I like that I folded my overpair to him when he had a set. I just didn't like that I didn't, put in a bunch pre-flop with 10s. Even if he, gets it in with 4s and wins more money, I'd feel better. That's just the old school poker player in me. I just want to make the right decision. But and then the queens, the grinder with the queens with no diamond, that was just kind of bizarre. But I have ace 10 of hearts, and I call the 3-bet, and it comes ace XX, and I'm against the same guy, and it checks. And the turn's a small heart. So I have top pair and the nut flush draw, and I bet. I'm targeting, pocket pairs. I think this guy has a pocket pair. And the river is a black 9, and I bet again. And now he raises. And I'm trying to find the bluffs. He 3-bet, and then he checked on ace XX. And then he called on the small heart. I have ace 10 of hearts. And on the black 9, he raises. And I just decide this is never a bluff. This has to be pocket 9s that just hit a fucking one outer against me, because it couldn't have been the 9 of hearts. And he didn't show, but I showed my hand, and he kind of nodded like a good fold. But I'm pretty sure that was a one outer. I didn't see his cards, but I'm pretty sure it was a one outer. And then I got the best of Aaron in a hand where he bluffed on the river. It was Jack, Jack, Deuce, X, Jack. I just had ace 9. And just the way he bet the river, the size, the force. I thought he was bluffing. And he had called, he led on Jack, Jack, deuce, and I raised small, and he called. And then the turn was an X, went check, check, and the river was a jack, and he fired, and I called with ace high, and it was good. And then I got the best of the grinder again. I called his raise, as did others. I had 10-9 offsuit from the straddle, and it came queen jack 8 with 2 diamonds. And I have 10-9 with the 10 of diamonds. So I flopped the nuts, and I have, backdoor flush draw as well. And I checked, and he checked back. Okay, and the turn is an ace. And I think he's going to have top pair here a lot, and I think he's going to bet it a lot. So I checked again, he bet, and I put in the check raise. And he called. So I think he has a bluff catcher. And I'm going to, bet a lot on certain rivers, and not this river. The river's another ace. So if this guy has 3 aces, he's never checking back, even though I check raise the turn. So I'm going to check raise the river as well. That's just a pretty good plan. Just to rewind this one, I think it's kind of cool. He opened, I called 10-9 offsuit, someone else is in there, and it comes queen jack 8, 2 diamonds. I flopped the nuts, check, he checks back, and then the other guy checked, and the turn's an ace, and we checked this guy, he bets, and now I check raise, and with my image, this is good, and the other guy folds, he calls. The river, I'm going to bet like a small card. I'm just going to bet a lot for value. He's not going to get check raised with top pair on the turn and then bet it for value on the river. That would be dumb, and he's not dumb. But the river's an ace, so I'm pretty sure he has trips, and I'm going to check raise again. And I check, and he 3x pots it. And I just know what this is. He has ace jack, or maybe ace queen, but probably ace jack. And so I went from, I'm going to check raise if he bets anything that looks like for value with 3 aces, and he's going to have to call. I went from that to just folding, and I showed. And he nodded his head again. And then it just kind of got weird. I just had to make big laydown after big laydown, and I think they were all good. And big laydown, is top pair. But that one was pretty big. It was a straight. And I was up decent, or I was up pretty good for a while, and it all just is going away. I had to fold the DJ Melody time after time, and I know he's creative, but there's several people in the pot, and I just am whiffing and folding top pair, and I kind of lost all the profit I was up. And then I got coolered by DJ Melody, and I lost a big one. Queen, deuce, deuce. 7, I don't remember the river, but I had queen jack, and he had ace queen. And then I flopped top pair against him, and he turned 2 pair, and I was up 2,200 at peak, and now I'm stuck. And then I have a little nub in front of me, and I made a flush, and someone doubled me up. And then we had a seat open, and the game's good. We got the game out of the muck, and even the grinders are gambling and or playing pots, I should say. And I see some other fucking dustbusters circling. Fat Jeff from Commerce, that's just his name. I didn't name him that. And this woman that wears headphones, young woman who's super dustbuster, just super grindy. And I said, we're making this 4 blinds official. It was 5, 5, 10, 20, but we're going to make it official so no one can come in and say, I don't do the 20. And, then I don't know if the cap went to 2K or not, but no one cared about the cap anymore. And so I added on. And now we are playing a little deeper, and I bluff all in several times and was successful each time. And I am maybe like, but I'm just like whiffing in other spots. I'm about even. And then Pinky, this cool kid that plays there all the time and has played on Lucky Lady Casino Live a few times, he squeezes. And I'm in position with 10-5 suited, and the 40 might be on. And now we're playing, stakes that I like. And I call with 10-5 suited, and it comes queen 5-5 with 2 hearts. Okay, that's good. He checks. I go ahead and bet. I'm very aware of my image. And I also felt like, he didn't have to have a monster before the flop. But, I'm in position. I like playing in position. That's why I called with the 10-5 suited. It came queen 5-5, 2 hearts. He checked. I bet. He called. The turn is an offsuit 10. Okay, so I have a boat. He checked. I bet again. I don't know if I bet 700 or whatever. And he called. And the river is a queen. And I bet somewhere around $1,000. And he called. He had queen deuce. He had the Israeli Ron. And this one tilted me. You'll see in my scoreboard later. This pot tilted me. That I knew I got one outed before. And then I'm pretty sure the guy had aces up when I had straight, and I check raised him. So that'd be a 4-outer, and this is a 2-outer, and this is like a bigger pot, and this is the biggest one I'd played on the night, and now I'm stuck quite a bit. And Mel says, "Why'd you bet the river?" I mean, I'm gonna bet the river. The guy squeezed pre-flop, came queen 5-5. We're playing street poker, 2 hearts, and he check called. Turn 10, he check called, river queen. I'm always going to bet here, and I'm going to fold to a jam. He didn't jam. He probably knows I'm not going to call a jam with worse. So the woman did sit down with the headphones, and, she has to do the 20. And she was pleasant on this night, and she was cooler than me and everyone else, just running up a dream stack. The thing that makes people feel like poker pros, the thing that makes people love going to the casino, you just run up a dream stack. You sit down with whatever, $1,000, and you have 5,000 pretty quickly. Or I think she was up like 1,500 right away, and her boyfriend came over and brought her 3 racks, and I was like, oh my God, he wants her to hit and run this game. And, that's public games. They're filthy, they're nitty. But to her credit, she just put the racks on the table, kept playing, and kept running hot. And, poker pros run like this. It feels like you have a big edge in these games. You're not realizing you're just fucking coolering the shit out of everyone getting there. I used to be on that side of things. For a long time, I've been on the other side. Anyways, I'm down 3K, and I'm tilted. And some guy sits down, and he's playing too slowly. And I said, "You got to play faster." And he like snapped at me, like, "Well, the floorman needs to tell me that." I said, "No, I'll tell you that." And we got into it, and this guy just tilted me. I don't know if he was a wreck or a fucking dustbuster or what he was, but I wasn't gonna hear his shit. I'm just too grizzled, too up against it in life. You come into our great game and you slow it down. No, you're gonna hear about it, and like if you wanna like engage, I'm gonna engage. I was ready. I was fucking ready, which is dumb for me with everything I have going in my life. I was fucking ready. Fuck this guy. And yeah. So next hand of note, multi-way. I'm in there with deuce 4. Shout out to Kobe Bryant. RIP. It comes ace, jack, deuce, rainbow. Okay, I have deuce 4 suited. I have bottom pair, backdoor flush draw. The preflop raiser checks, and this woman on a heater, young woman on a heater, bets in position. It doesn't seem like a very strong bet. It's not a very big bet. I'm going to call, and, bottom pair. She might just check down a hand like queen 10, king queen, whatever. And the turn is a deuce and 2 hearts out there. And I check, and she checks back. And the river is another heart. And I'm going to check. Hopefully she had an ace and will now go for value. And she bets, and I raised to 1,000, and she thinks and calls, and she went runner flush. Oh, okay. So she just bet the flop with a flush draw, with a backdoor flush draw. I called with bottom pair, backdoor flush draw. I turned trips as she picked up a flush draw. She took her free card. She rivered the flush on a paired board. She betted for value. I raised for value. She called. She had a flush. She wins. And after that, I value bet a river again and got called and lost. Okay, great. And now I'm just missing every hand, and I'm really getting into it with that guy. Not a good look. I'm on rage tilt. And the last hand, I'm all in with 9s against ace-5 offsuit pre-flop. And I already know I'm dead, and I was dead. I lost $5K. You want to hear what happens next? You got to become a paid member, patreon.com/DGAF poker player. If you just want the poker shit, but don't want to listen on YouTube moving forward, go there, become a free member. Check the goals, 50-50 tilt. I want to have 20, there's 50 weeks. I want to have 25 weeks of no tilt. And I was looking good for that. I've been at 23 for a couple. I 100% tilted. I rage tilted. And it's bad for a few reasons. One, I'm trying to build this business. And even though I'm smart enough to not, be tilting like this at somewhere I'm affiliated with, it's just not a good look in general. That's part of it. Fuck it. I'm a human being who's been in the pressure cooker for so long. And public games are dusty, whatever. Another reason, you don't play as well when you're tilted, but I try harder when I'm tilted. But the third reason is I just feel like shit for a couple days, like really bad, like go dark place, and I don't like it. And so that's why I set the goal, and we're at 23-23 after 46 weeks. No makeup. So that one could go either way. No makeup. I'm going to end up at makeup. It's been a bad year. I'm currently not even on stake. We haven't reloaded. So I'm going to lose that one. We don't know about the first one. The third one, goal, I want to weigh 230 pounds or less by the end of the year. I started at 247.3. My high point was 260. And I'd never been close to that. And I was actually fairly fit when I was playing on HCL, and I've talked about it enough, and it doesn't wear on me too much anymore, but that being accused of cheating after Jack 4 fucked with me so hard on so many levels. People not understanding soul reads, not understanding sensitivity and being able to pick up on stuff, not understanding that a 10-20-40 game isn't really a 10-20-40 game when the $100 straddle's on all the time, and sometimes the $200 straddle. And some of the people that accused me, it really bothered me. And one of my friends that was late on clearing my name, like, it's just so fucking dumb, man. Like, let me rant about this just for a second, if you don't mind. That shit is so dumb. Robbie calls Garrett with a hand no one ever calls with. I've played with her a few times since then. She sometimes does this stuff. I don't know. I don't know that hand. I don't know. That hand's fucking weird. That session's weird, right? But how does that become a week later? I'm getting all these bot followers on Twitter, and there's this whole agenda against me, and Vertucci and Feldman are saying they're looking at you and like you can't sit in the 2-seat anymore. And when they first told, I thought they were trolling. Like, Ryan loves a troll. I was like, you're joking, right? This is like a week after that. Like, no. And like these people with the big platforms saying you can't win that much. He's cheating, piece of shit, scumbag, this, that. When the reason I am surviving in life is because though I have tilt issues, I don't do people dirty. If someone wants to do me dirty, then they can bring out the fucking the battler in me. If they want to get in the trench, if they want to bring me down in the trenches, they're gonna lose. But other than that, I don't do anyone dirty. And I would never cheat in a fucking poker hand. And like, it just was so rough that I just like, that's when I couldn't sleep. And I was just anxiety eating and anger eating. And I got up to 261. And so I'm, 51 years old now. I gotta get my weight down, or you're gonna have a lot of heart problems and whatever else. And I lost a little bit before the start of the year, but 247.3 at the start. Want to get to 230 or below. I got down to like 217, but that's because I was playing a lot of pickleball and I was walking a golf course once a week. I can't do any of that stuff right now due to plantar fasciitis in both feet and tendonitis in both arms. I went too hard. So currently 225. So we have a sweat there as well, and that's just my life in it.